there's not really a headline today, but I did notice this, and I read this, courtesy of ESPN. Rich Paul is the agent to LeBron James. He's the agent to many people. He's also dating Adele. He's a big deal. So he tells ESPN that LeBron is off the idea of playing with his son. That was a big deal. He was, wanted him to be drafted by the Lakers, or was he going to go someplace else to play with Bronny? Now, there's no excitement with the draft. The most exciting part of the draft is Bronny James, where he goes, which team, and is he going to be a first-round pick? That's about it, because there's no consensus number one overall pick. Nobody's going to come in, at least nobody is reportedly going to come in and change a franchise. But with Bronny James, this, according to Rich Paul, LeBron is off the idea of playing with Bronny. If he does, he does. But if he doesn't, he doesn't. Okay. There's no deal that's guaranteed that if the Lakers draft Bronny at 55, that LeBron's going to re-sign. If that was the case, I would force them to take him at 17. We don't need leverage. Once again, the agent is saying, I would force the Lakers to take Bronny at 17. Who's running the Lakers? Sounds like Rich Paul is, or LeBron. But once again, if that was the case and LeBron was going to stay and he needed his son there, I would force them to draft him at 17. The Lakers can draft Bronny, and LeBron doesn't re-sign. LeBron is also not going to Phoenix for a minimum deal. We can squash that now. Now, I did say there are other teams interested. Now, he is limiting the number of teams that Bronny James is going to work out for. Right now, Phoenix and L.A. That's it. Now, there are other teams that are interested, according to Rich Paul: Minnesota, Dallas, and Toronto. If it's someone else, Minnesota would love to get Bronny, but I don't know who their owner is going to be. Also, the Mavs GM, his name is Nico Harrison. He's like an uncle to Bronny, according to Rich Paul. So let me just throw this out there. And I don't know if it's going to stick. I don't know if it matters. I don't have any inside news sources with this, or sources close to sources. LeBron wants to play with Kyrie again. And probably Kyrie wants to play with LeBron again. Let's say Dallas drafted Bronny James. Once again, you got the GM. Okay? The GM is like an uncle to Bronny. LeBron, Kyrie. So they draft him. LeBron opts out, becomes a free agent, and then says to the Dallas Mavericks, what do you want to pay me? I'll come in. I know, sounds crazy, right? But it's not crazy. Because if you're the Mavericks, and once again, Mark Cuban is involved, not the way he was before he sold off a good portion of the Mavericks. But if you're looking to create a reality show, and Mark has been in the Shark Tank business for quite some time, you're creating a show here. You got father and you got son. You got Luka. You got Kyrie. You got a guy who has been labeled as his uncle, sort of an uncle to Bronny James. Okay. I mean, you got my attention with it, and I just thought, I'll spin that here and see if anybody bites on it. Yes, Paul?
Let's make it an actual show. In the next episode of Shark Tank, LeBron James Sr., LeBron James Jr., they walk out with the music playing, the doors open up. We have an idea for you. How about a family package deal to come to Dallas? I did read some quotes from Rich Paul. In the past few months, I think the coverage of Bronny James has been a little unfair. The stories are he won't visit this place, he won't visit this place. And it makes it sound like he's too good for these places, or
no, but this is Rich Paul,
right,
is telling these teams. Bronny's just doing what his agent is telling him to do.
Yes, but Bronny is getting the criticism from the average sports fan who reads this story. I read a little background. Rich Paul's been doing this for years, especially with second-round draft picks. Yeah. He's taken players like Taylor Horton-Tucker, and he finds certain places that are interested in him and pre-works the draft, the contract, the elements of it. And he said he's done this for about 6 or 7 other players, just not famous players.
Well, he did it to Darius Garland, and he was the number 5 pick in 2019. So he's had players, a couple of first-round players that he's done this to. But he's basically saying these are the teams he's going to work out for. Now, he did go to the pre-draft combine. Everybody got to see him. You want to be able to talk to him. I think that's really the key. And he seems like a level-headed kid. It seems like, he was well-raised, seems humble, doesn't say much, doesn't do many interviews. But I think this is a situation where if you're going to look at the entire picture, LeBron, his role, he could play with Kyrie. I don't know what they could offer him, first of all. I'd have to get, Wendy or Woj or Shams to be able to say Dallas could offer this. But if he's a free agent, what could you pay him? And if Dallas would pick him, Dallas has a second-round pick. I don't think they have a first-round pick, do they, Marv?
Checking right now.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's like late second round they have.
Boy, that'd be odd if the Lakers passed on him at, 55, and then the Mavs took him soon after that. But, okay, I know it sounds crazy, but it's just more of it could be based in reality because Rich Paul is saying that these are teams that are interested. You have Minnesota, Dallas, and Toronto. So if it's not the Lakers, it will be somebody else. Minnesota would love to get Bronny, but right now their ownership is in a state of flux. And then he says the Mavs GM, Nico Harrison, is like an uncle to Bronny. If the Lakers don't take him at 55, Dallas would take him at 58 and give him a guaranteed deal. Well, now it gets interesting there. Because if you're LeBron, you're not going to win a title with the Lakers. This team just went to the Western Conference. They went to the NBA Finals, I should say. They went to the NBA Finals. You want to play with Kyrie? Sounded like Kyrie was trying to play with LeBron. I don't know. Maybe it's far-fetched. Maybe somebody's going to go, that's not based in reality because of this. Yes, Marv.
From a basketball standpoint, I hate to be realistic, but from a basketball standpoint, it's another guy that needs the ball a lot.
Why are you a buzzkill? Couldn't you let me run with this for more than 9 minutes?
You know what? LeBron to the Mavericks?
Yeah.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Yeah. This is where LeBron becomes the ultimate team player. What do you need me to do? Mm-hmm. End of his career. Oh, my gosh. Did you see LeBron sacrifice?
Ooh, who's the biggest star in Dallas?
Yeah.
Dak or LeBron?
Whose team is it?
Oh, my God. Can you imagine social media if LeBron ended up in Dallas?
Yes.
And then he goes to the Cowboys games?
They'd shut down the company in Bristol, move everything down to Dallas.
ESPN Dallas.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
they would just have to relocate
Why not?
everybody. Yeah.
That's funny, but it's pretty true.
Yes.
Look, they had the heat index at ESPN.
All I know is Greeny and Stephen A. are probably going, why didn't we come up with that? Why didn't we get that angle today on Get Up or First Take? Skip's not on the air for another 20 minutes, so he might run with this. LeBron going to the Mavs and Bronny going to the Mavs. But if the Lakers would pass on him, and once again, we don't know who's going to be the coach. I'm assuming it's J.J. Redick. And can you imagine if, the Lakers say to J.J. Redick, we're not taking Bronny? What that does to the podcast then? But, stranger things, crazier things. And, I guess the big question mark is LeBron's future. I know he wants to stay in L.A., but if you get this opportunity to play on a better team and your son is going to be there and they give him a guaranteed contract and you play for 2 more years, is that crazy? And once again, the reality part of this is the amount of money because the Lakers are going to give LeBron what he wants. Whatever, $50 million, $60 million, who knows? But I don't know if Dallas can do anything that is kind of in the ballpark. And maybe they can. But as Rich Paul, LeBron's agent, says, hey, he's not going to take the league minimum to go play for Phoenix. But league minimum to play for Phoenix if they draft your son and you have a quality team already in place there, what's left for LeBron? 2 things. Play with his son and win another championship. Those are the 2 things that are left. Legacy is cemented. Okay, where you are on the list of all-time greats, That might change a little bit if you want another title in some people's eyes. But statistically speaking, nothing is going to change. He's the greatest. Statistically, the greatest. But you get one more title there. And in the process, you get to play with your son. Yeah, Paul?
I have an awkward curveball. LeBron James has another son who's currently in high school, correct?
Yes.
Is he a pretty good basketball player? I haven't really checked it out.
I think he has, well, size-wise, he's more like LeBron.
Oh,
I think he's about 6'8".
Bryce.
Yeah.
Okay, Bryce, what if LeBron maneuvers it so he plays a season with his Bronny James, and the other son goes, hey, what about me?
I don't know if LeBron, he'd have to, well, Bryce, I think, is a junior.
Yep. Going to
17.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Not that long. Let's start it now. Let's be way ahead of this one.
Okay. So Bryce and Bronny to the Mavericks.
Do you have to be 19?
Rich Paul could find a way around that.
Yeah, somehow Rich Ball could find a loophole here.
So it's less than 2 years.
Yeah.
Let's get on that one. Let's move past Bronny James and get on Bryce James and LeBron sticking around to play with him.